On Part 1. The journey begins with a fundamental truth that serves as the bedrock for everything we are about to discuss today, which is that your potential is, for all intents and purposes, limitless. It is a vast, unexplored ocean, a continent of riches waiting for you to claim it. Yet the tragedy of the human condition is that most of us are walking around with a winning lottery ticket in our pocket that we never bother to cash. We are going to talk about the master skill of success, the one skill that rules them all, which is the ability to set and achieve goals. You see, success is not a mystery, and it is not a miracle, it is a mechanical process. As predictable as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, but the fuel for this machine is clarity. There is a psychological phenomenon that dictates your reality, and it is simply this: you become what you think about most of the time. Now pause and ask yourself, what do you think about most of the time? Successful people, the ones who seem to have the Midas touch, think about what they want and how to get it, while unsuccessful people spend their mental energy thinking about what they don't want and who is to blame for their problems. We are going to shift that paradigm today. We are going to look at the famous study from Harvard University back in 1979, where graduates were asked if they had written goals. 84% had no goals, 13% had goals but not in writing, and only 3% had clear, written goals. 10 years later, the 13% were making twice as much as the 84%. But the 3% who wrote them down were earning 10 times as much as the other 97% combined. That is the power of the written word, and today we are going to learn how to wield it. Narration Part 2. Now, before we can even put pen to paper, we have to clear the debris from the construction site of your new life. And that debris is the refusal to accept responsibility. This is the great separator, the divide between the child and the adult, the victim and the victor. You must accept, right here and right now, that you are the architect of your own destiny, which means refusing to make excuses. Refusing to blame the government, your parents, the economy, or your boss for your current situation. It is a hard pill to swallow, but it is the medicine that cures the disease of mediocrity. When you stop blaming, you stop giving away your power to external forces, and you regain the emotional control necessary to steer your ship. We have to talk about the enemies of your success, and the biggest one is negative emotion, fear, self-pity, envy, and anger. These emotions are like parking brakes on your potential. You can rev the engine all you want, but if the brake is on, you aren't going anywhere. The root of these negative emotions is almost always a lack of personal responsibility. The moment you say I am responsible, you short-circuit that negativity. You become the captain. You realize that if you are not happy with your income, your relationships, or your health, it is up to you to change it. This is about moving from an external locus of control, where life happens to you, to an internal locus of control, where you happen to life. Once you accept this, you are ready to engage in strategic planning for your own life. Treating yourself as a personal corporation where you are the president, the CEO, and the janitor all rolled into one. Narration Part 3. With the foundation of responsibility laid, we can now engage in one of the most exciting mental exercises available to us, which is blue sky thinking or idealization. I want you to imagine that you have a magic wand, and with a wave of this wand, you can remove every limitation from your life. Imagine that 5 years from today, your life is perfect in every respect. What does it look like? This is not the time to worry about how you will get there. This is the time to clarify what you want. Most people sabotage themselves before they even begin because they let their self-limiting beliefs, the I'm not smart enough or I don't have the money thoughts, strangle their dreams in the crib. Forget the obstacles for a moment. If you could be, have, or do anything, what would it be? Look at your career. If it were perfect 5 years from now, what would you be doing, and how much would you be earning? Look at your health. What would you weigh, and how would you feel? Look at your relationships. By projecting yourself forward and looking back, you create a vision that acts as a compass. This vision activates your reticular activating system, that part of your brain that filters information. So you suddenly start seeing opportunities and resources that were there all along, but you were blind to them because you didn't have a target. We are talking about designing your future rather than just drifting into it. You need to create a burning desire, a fire in your belly. Because that desire is the fuel that will drive you through the inevitable obstacles that lie ahead. Narration Part 4. However, a goal without a value system is like a house built on sand, so we must delve into the core of who you are. You need to clarify your values because your values determine your personality and your character. Think of your personality as a series of concentric circles. The innermost core is your values, the next ring is your beliefs, then your expectations, then your attitude, and finally, the outer ring is your actions. Everything radiates from the center. If your actions on the outside do not align with your values on the inside, you will experience stress, unhappiness, and conflict. You must ask yourself what you truly stand for. Is it integrity? Is it excellence? Is it compassion? Is it freedom? Successful people are those whose values are congruent with their goals. You cannot set a goal to become a shark in business if your core value is compassion and service, or you will tear yourself apart. You must peel back the layers and be honest. What do you want people to say about you when you are not in the room? What do you want your legacy to be? Once you anchor your goals and your values, you gain a kind of unshakable confidence. You also need to analyze your beliefs, specifically your self-limiting beliefs. We all have them. Ideas that we aren't good at math, or we aren't creative, or we aren't good public speakers. These are almost always false. They are learned helplessness. You must challenge these beliefs and replace them with the conviction that you are a learning machine, capable of mastering any skill required to achieve your vision. Narration Part 5. Now we get to the mechanics, the nuts and bolts of the system, and this brings us to the concept of the major definite purpose. You might have 100 things you want to do, but you need to identify the one goal that, if achieved, would have the greatest positive impact on your life. This is the goal that serves as the catalyst for all the others. Here is the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down 10 goals you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. Write them in the present tense, as if they have already happened, using the word I. For example, I earn this amount of money or I drive this car. Once you have your list of 10, look at them and ask yourself this magic question. If I could only accomplish one goal on this list in 24 hours, which one would have the greatest positive impact on my life? The answer to that question is your major definite purpose. Circle it. This becomes your organizing principle. It becomes the laser beam of your focus. You write it on a card, you carry it with you, you think about it morning and night. By ignoring the other 9 for a moment and obsessing over this one big goal, you engage your subconscious mind 24/7. You will start to wake up with ideas, you will meet people, and coincidences will happen that seem like magic. But they are simply the result of focused intention. You must also set a deadline. A goal without a deadline is just a wish with no energy behind it. If it's a big goal, break it down into sub-deadlines. You are programming your internal GPS. If you don't tell it when you want to arrive, it can't calculate the route. Narration Part 6. Having a destination is useless without a map, so we must talk about planning and action. The old saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You cannot leap to the top of the mountain, you have to climb. Once you have your major definite purpose, you need to make a list of everything, and I mean everything, that you will need to do to achieve it. Leave nothing out. List the obstacles you will have to overcome, the knowledge and skills you will need to acquire, and the people whose cooperation you will require. Organize this list by sequence. What do you need to do first? What comes second? Organize it by priority. What is more important? What is less important? Apply the 80-20 rule, realizing that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. Once you have this list, it transforms from a daunting dream into a step-by-step project. And here is the key: do something every single day that moves you toward your major goal. Never let a day pass without striking a blow for your own future. This builds momentum, and momentum is the friend of success. You must also identify the constraints. Ask yourself, why aren't I there already? There is always a limiting factor, a bottleneck. It might be a lack of a specific skill, it might be a fear, it might be a resource constraint. You must be honest about what is holding you back and attack that constraint first. Alleviating the bottleneck sets the speed for the entire journey. Narration Part 7. As we move toward the execution phase, we have to talk about the supercomputer you have between your ears. Your subconscious and superconscious mind. You activate these powers through visualization. You must learn to run mental movies of your success. See yourself performing at your best. See yourself living in that house. See the bank balance. But here is the secret. You must combine the clear mental image with the emotion of having already achieved it. Feel the joy, the pride, the relief. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. If you feed it pictures of success and accompany them with intense emotion, your subconscious will work night and day to make your outer reality match your inner blueprint. It will drive you to take actions you didn't know you were capable of. This is also where you need to develop the mental equivalent of what you want. You cannot have something on the outside that you don't possess on the inside. This is why personal development is non-negotiable. If you want to earn more, you must learn more. You must become an expert in your field. Join the top 10%. Read for an hour every day in your field. Listen to audio programs in your car. Attend every seminar you can. If you do this, you will become one of the most knowledgeable and valuable people in your industry. Your outer world of income and recognition will always be a reflection of your inner world of knowledge and preparation. Narration Part 8. Finally, we arrive at the iron quality of success, the one trait that guarantees you will eventually win: persistence. No matter how well you plan, you will face adversity. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and failures. It is not a matter of if, but when. The difference between the hero and the coward is not that the hero feels no fear or never fails. It is that the hero keeps going. You must make a decision in advance that you will never give up. When you resolve beforehand that nothing will stop you, you are mentally prepared for the bumps in the road. You must develop the resilience to bounce back. Every failure is merely a detour, a lesson that you needed to learn to handle the success that is coming. Look for the seed of advantage in every adversity. Be flexible in your approach but rigid in your goal. If one way doesn't work, try another, and another, and another. Your persistence is the true measure of your belief in yourself. As long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep learning and adjusting, you cannot fail. You are a potential genius, possessing untapped reserves of creativity and talent. By setting clear goals, taking responsibility, planning thoroughly, and persisting through every storm, you unlock that potential. The future belongs to you. Now take that pen, take that paper, and start writing your new life today.